Well, welcome back from the break. Tim, I've got to tell you real quick, I found Tish Powell to be an intelligent, articulate, and qualified for the position. I think she's got a strong background.
Yeah, real strong. She's been in politics, and she's educated, and she's got the brains. I don't understand why people want to run for those positions, though. But
public
service, I guess.
Yes, there are people who are actually dedicated to public service. Yeah, I mean it's certainly not a power grab. I can't see any real benefit to being on the city council. So but very, very intelligent. So folks, once again, that is April 5th. Early voting is now available. If you liked what you heard or you want to find out more about Tish Powell, please feel free to go to www.powell, that's with 2 L's, for Elgin.com. You can also find her on Facebook. Tish, Tish, Powell with 2 L's.
And our phone lines are open at 847-931-1410. Not that you could tell, but they're open. And real quick, a couple things, get some business out of the way. Danny Pfeiffer, national political consultant next week, is going to be joining us for, I don't know if a half hour or an hour.
I think at least a half hour.
And then Elgin City Council driver Tom McCarthy. So I guess he is supposed to be a very lively candidate, and he's going to be with us in 2 weeks.
And we are trying very hard to also add Peter Fitzgerald, state senator from Wisconsin. We hope to have an answer from his office, and he is the ranking Senate Republican in Wisconsin. So hopefully he might have some insights as to what's been going on there.
If I can do a quick commercial when you're done.
Sure, go right ahead.
I don't know all this stuff going on in Japan. You can really easily make a donation by texting 90999 and putting the one word Red Cross, and you can donate $10 to the people in Japan. And it's something that I heard in the news the other day. And so if anybody's listening to it, would you please donate to Japan, because that is just absolutely the worst tragedy I have ever seen in my lifetime. It's just absolutely devastating. And I don't think we even have an idea how bad this is going to be.
Well, so, you know what's interesting? I'm glad you brought up Japan, because what a convolution of nature and man. It's bad enough that an earthquake hits, which causes a tsunami and runs things over. But then you have man with the nuclear reactors that are being destroyed by it.
Well, you missed a big piece.
What did I miss?
The earthquake.
Well, did I not say earthquake to start out?
Tsunami.
Well, I think I said earthquake, which caused... I meant... I thought it in my head. I maybe didn't say it out loud. But yeah, the earthquake, which led to the tsunami, which led to now the man. And it's interesting. It certainly is a natural disaster that's been complicated by man.
Well, what I thought it was...
And it's getting worse.
You see the guy that they found 10 miles out on the ocean on his roof?
Yes.
He says the earthquake hits, so he says to his wife, let's go home and get some of our personal stuff. They go to the house. The tsunami takes the whole house out. He grabs his roof, pieces his roof together as a raft. He's out 10 miles. They find him 3 days later. And now he's got to deal with this nuclear fallout. I'm just like, wow. I can't even imagine. And I'm sitting in my nice warm bed going, wow.
And his wife is lost, too.
They don't know. Yeah.
His wife is gone.
Yeah. So, God bless them. I just hope. But did you hear what's going on there now? Because I haven't heard today about the nuclear. They had three meltdowns or three energy.
Crisis worse than 3 Mile Island, experts say.
That wasn't the worst one, 70. I think it was...
one reactor shield might be compromised. Spent fuel pool leaking radioactivity. Yeah, it's getting worse, not getting better, is what it boils down to.
Okay.
Sorry. I'm really sorry. Our prayers and thoughts go out for the people of Japan. It's just absolutely terrible. But
yeah, if you can, please donate money to the American Red Cross. And you can go to the website, AmericanRedCross.org, and you can send money out there. We are very, very fortunate to live in this country. I was talking to somebody the other day. I said, "You realize that there's like 9 billion people in the world, and we live in a country of 310 million people, which is like 3% of the world." And we are the richest, most prosperous country, regardless of all the political garbage that's going on with Washington, D.C. We are absolutely very lucky.
We are.
Very, very lucky that we live in the greatest city in the world.
Yep.
Not Elgin, Chicago. Well, Allergy's number 2, right?
Yeah.
So in case we don't get.
I don't know if you guys are. I don't know if you guys are going to talk about this, but last week you talked about John Cullerton, right?
Who? How do you spell it? No, I know what you mean.
Yes,
go ahead, John Cullerton.
Talking about the $1 pack cigarette tax.
Yeah, did you see that?
And what is your take on increasing the taxes on whatever you want to call the sin tax or cigarettes? What's your view?
You're going to get
a good idea or a bad idea?
On this one, this is going to be a good conversation.
Whenever you do,
there it is. It's not even on our phone line here.
You know, whenever you raise taxes, it's a bad thing. It's just, you know, it's just one of those things where you sit there and you hear, well, we're not going to raise taxes on the people who make less than $250,000. We're only going after the rich. Well, last time I checked, poor people smoke. Last time I checked, poor people drive cars. Last time I checked, poor people shop. Last time I checked, poor people draw paychecks in the state of Illinois. They're taxing everyone, and they're sitting there pretending they're not. I don't care about them raising the taxes. The audacity to sit there and say they're not when they are is what gets me. I mean, do they think people are that stupid? Now, I don't smoke, so I don't care.
I don't smoke either, but you want me to see me get him on his good side right now? Show me you're spending my money responsibly, and then go raise whatever you want to raise. See?
Yeah.
I just made points with Paul.
I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, they just don't. Cullerton, like, they throw things out there. They just start, they throw. We'll see if some of this is going to stick or not. I mean, they just raised the taxes. Somebody called me about payroll the other day, and they were talking to me about something. They asked, they said, hey, how come these payroll things don't work up with my deductions? I go, well, because the federal government gave you the 2%, refund on the Social Security tax. But by the way, what the federal government giveth, the state take it awayeth.
Well, it's just like when going back to Mike Nolan, one of our first shows, we sat here and he said how he was all about helping small business, and there was a $2,500 tax credit that he was going to be giving to small businesses. And I said, but when you raise our income tax, you're putting it one hand, taking it out of the other. Please don't insult me or the listeners. And what did they do? In a lame duck session, circumventing the will of the people, they passed an income tax.
Just for the record, he didn't vote for that income tax. Even though he was for it on the show.
Yes.
And he was pushing it, and he was a big proponent of it. Mm-hmm. But I think that would have been.
Do you know why? Do you know why he didn't vote for it?
I can only theorize.
I could theorize that because his race was so hotly contested and so close that once they knew they had enough votes, the areas where it was most contested, they said, okay, we don't need your vote on this one. You can use this. Sure. You can use this when you run for re-election, that you didn't vote for it. He was all for it. He was pushing it. Don't kid yourself, folks. Well, and we did invite him on here to discuss it and defend himself. So if I'm speaking out of school or I don't have my facts right, Senator Nolan, we know you listen. 847-931-1410.
You'd never come back on the show again. So it'd be nice if he called and explained that. They hung up on me the one time I called him. He was on the air, and as soon as I identified myself, they ran out of time and they clipped. But you remember when he was on the show, you were after him. I was defending him. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, no, he's not for this tax increase. He would never be for that. And then he turned around and said, no, I am for the tax increase. I was like, oh, excuse me. Let me get my foot out of my mouth here. My foot's too big in my mouth.
So you think increasing the tax on a sin tax on cigarettes is a bad idea? Because I know I don't smoke either, but I think if I'm gonna, I'd be for raising a dollar tax because cigarettes is not a necessity. And poor people don't need cigarettes. Rich people don't need cigarettes. So if you're going to take it, if it's going to help, and if it's going to help it's going to go for the funds.
What's it going to be used for?
For construction funds, for construction, the construction season, road construction.
Oh, so they're going to use it to fund jobs that don't perpetuate wealth. So that once you bring that money in, you spend it, it's gone. It is not perpetuated wealth at all.
No, but it's going to perhaps create jobs.
No, Dave, you have to understand, when the government does that, when the government creates a job, it creates a finite job.
Yeah.
Once the money runs out, the job's gone. So you've got to invest in the private sector, where the private sector perpetuates jobs.
If the dollar increase was going to go toward creating wealth, then you'd be for it. But since it's going toward construction, you're against it.
Well, see, if you're operating in a vacuum, that would be absolutely correct, which means there's no other variables. First off, before you raise any taxes, spend my money wisely and prove to me you have. And they have not done that. They actually added spending to this year's budget while raising our taxes instead of cutting spending and raising our taxes. That I almost could have lived with.
But since you guys don't smoke, they're not raising your taxes. I mean, if they add the dollar to the cigarette tax.
But don't you think all people are going to do is go and get cigarettes elsewhere? Don't you think they're going to go? I mean, Chicago borders Indiana. Don't you think Indiana's just going to go and do? Now, I'd agree if you had a federal tax of $1 across the board, everybody had to pay the $1 federal tax.
Would you be for that?
Yeah, I'm all for sin tax. But I agree. I go back to what Paul said. I go back. I think strip clubs, booze, dancing halls, gambling,
things that are not necessities.
Absolutely, I'm all for sin taxes.
Right.
But when you do that, Chicago borders Indiana. So what people are going to do? People are going to go to Indiana. I can remember when I did smoke years and years and years ago. We would drive to Indiana. We could buy cigarettes for a third of the cost.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen? People are going to cross the state lines. I mean, haven't we done enough damage to Illinois? We've got governors from 1,000 miles away. Christie's town. Come to all these other states are saying come.
Oh yeah, there's a rivalry right there with the.
But Wisconsin's the same way. So is Indiana.
Wait a minute, I've got to stick up for our governor and our Senate and our legislature. There's a lot more damage they intend to inflict on us.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then they sit there and say you're going to cut the budget by 3%, or they have this rolling going forward, and he hires 670 people. And he comes back and he says he hires these 670 people because he's paying overtime on the people that are there anyway.
Yeah.
And this is a very dysfunctional state. It's a very, very dysfunctional state. We're not the highest income tax yet. The city of Chicago a couple years ago was talking about a city income tax. They have a city income tax in New York. Mm-hmm. And they were. I was going to ask Tish.
Well, they were going to do a city sin tax also. Wasn't it on liquor? Is that the?
Are you saying you're for all for sin tax? You just think sin tax is the best thing?
Well, to me, if even if I'm a smoker, I don't think I'd be for the sin tax. But I'm not a smoker, and I don't think.
So wait a minute. That's a typical. I hate that. That is a typical liberal attitude. Tax everybody as long as it's not me.
No.
I didn't hear him say that.
That's what I heard. He just said that if he smoked, he wouldn't be for it.
Yeah. Well, actually, here's the thing: if they
but he's not for it now. Are you for it now?
Yeah, because he doesn't smoke. He's cool with it.
Hey, I think if it's a sin tax for a luxury tax, whatever, on things that you don't need, liquor and cigarettes, I have no, or strip clubs.
Okay, so, now you get haircuts. I can tell you never get your eyebrows plucked or anything like that, but you get haircuts, right?
That's right.
Okay. Do you know that right now there's no tax on services? So haircuts, fingernails,
there's
all that type of stuff.
300 different things that we don't tax.
So,
a lot of states.
So are you for taxing that since it's something that you use?
Am I for that?
Yeah.
No, a sin tax. Is it a sin tax?
That's not sin.
You don't have to get a haircut. Obviously, you never do your eyebrows. I'm just messing with you.
I don't think your eyebrows are.
I'm just messing with. No, but my point.
His eyebrows are cute.
My point is.
Thank you.
My point is that there's no tax on, and I'm not advocating a tax on services. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying it's as long as that tax wasn't going to hit you, you were cool with it.
So you would not be for a federal sin tax as both of us are, I guess, are for. If and I don't think it ever happened,
I believe that
everybody, half the politicians would be gone.
I believe taxation grows the size of government. I think growing the size of government is a bad thing. Therefore, on most things, I'm against taxes and raising them. Yes, okay. I think government's too big now.
You know what I think? Some big law firm should send philanthropy. They should start suing the states and the city about their levies of taxes and see what's constitutional, what's unconstitutional. Your eyebrows aren't that great either, by the way. I just want you to know.
Yeah, but I'm due for a trim tomorrow.
No, but I mean, you know what? The Supreme
Why is it the typical Republican, when they can't think of a good argument, they go after the personal attributes of the debater? That's the thing.
I'm just jealous because you have good bushy eyebrows, Dave. And I don't. I got crazy old man eyebrows. They just sort of stick up and go all over the place.
At least I don't have Dukakis eyebrows. Oh, man. Those things were like, they would grow out and grab you.
Is that the guy that ran for Willie Horton or something?
1988, actually. President in 1988.
Yeah, no, I think the taxes are, again, you got to be fiscally responsible. I think Illinois, regardless of whether or not we needed the money or not, but they have not shown fiscal responsibility at all.
Right.
And, I like Pat Quinn. I've met Pat Quinn, like I said, a number of times. Nice guy. I'd like to hang out with him. Might have dinner with him. I don't want to be my governor. He wears the same tie every picture. He's got this purple tie. If you come in my office, there's a picture of him and I in the office. And he always wears the same tie. Every time I see him, he has the same tie on.
Okay, I want to shift gears somewhat here a little bit, and that is, where we're talking about being responsible and spending the money wisely. And there has been there was a budget put forth for consideration by the president that basically had no legitimate cuts or anything like that. And there's a lot of people now who are standing up and saying that, look at our president, he completely abdicated his responsibility. And let me be clear, there are Democrats standing up saying the president has abdicated his responsibility in jumping up and doing this. And he's starting to take some water on for the fact that he's, water, and that's a bad thing to say with what's going on in Japan. I wasn't thinking really there. I wasn't
thinking that either.
That was bad. But with everything going on in Libya, everything going on in Japan, everything going on in Saudi Arabia, all this going on now, and our president is spending the majority of his time golfing. There are people who are saying they have an issue that he's not showing leadership. Thoughts? I
heard that people don't like his shorts because he doesn't have very good legs. But yeah, there was Jon Stewart or somebody said he should put on a pair. Dennis Miller said he should put on a pair of long pants. So I haven't really heard too much about the golfing, but there has been a big thing about the leadership because Congress.
Well, they also did it with the former president. They were saying when we were in Iraq and Afghanistan and. Former President Bush was out there golfing or
fishing.
He was fishing, yeah. They were complaining about that during the time. And then eventually he said...
But I think that was the news media complaining. This isn't the news media that's complaining. This is actual people within the government making these statements.
Yeah. Dave, did you like George Bush? What do you think of George Bush as a president on a scale of 1 to 10?
Well, he wasn't wishy-washy.
So he had chutzpah, right?
I mean, here's the thing. It's something that he wasn't afraid to, which the Republicans, they do not back down. Whether they're right or wrong, they don't back down. I mean, that's the thing. With the Democrats, they not just compromise, they bail. So
it's interesting because Napoleon Hill in the book Think and Grow Rich says the leaders make decisions fast and change their minds seldomly. Wishy-washy people change their minds.
I love
seldomly.
Napoleon Hill.
Yeah. Do you? I've read a lot of his books and things. So
I like Napoleon's too.
So you didn't answer the question. 1 to 10. What would you rate him
at? George W. Bush. As a president or as a leader?
As a president, president of the United States.
Gosh, I don't know. I would say he was a 6.
What would you say, Paul? You want me to come back to you? Questions get harder as we go along.
I would give him, and most people will disagree with this, I would give him a 10 on foreign policy and national defense, and I will give him at best a 4 on financial responsibility for the United States.
I'd give him an 8.
Yeah.
So I know it's not popular.
And I really like George Bush, but I think when I say that Obama abdicated his responsibility, I think Bush in many ways on the fiscal responsibility end of things abdicated his responsibility
because of the
country.
Medicare and the spending. You talk about the spending that he did. He spent more money. He spent money like a Democrat.
He didn't spend like these Democrats. He spent like Democrats in the past. But the other thing was that there are things that the Democrats wanted to do that because I felt he was so hard on national defense and on homeland security that he acquiesced on a lot of financial things.
So what's the difference between him and Obama then? This will be good, Dave.
The answer to that is very, very clear. The person that got elected to be the president of the United States when George Bush was elected was the same man saying the same things 4 years before that, and he was saying basically the same thing 8 years later. The president, Barack Obama, the man who campaigned and was elected, was saying things different than what he was saying prior to that.
But they all move.
Not to the point. No, Barack Obama.
President Barack
Obama, and these are I'm going to paraphrase because I won't get it right, but Lieutenant Colonel Alan West says we were bamboozled and lied to. that what Barack Obama projected is not who he really is. And whether you like Bush or not, you knew exactly who he was.
Yeah.
I don't believe that we know who Barack Obama is. I'm not sure Barack Obama knows who Barack Obama is.
Yeah, no, I think they all do. And I remember my very dear friend Harold, who, when he had predicted that Barack Obama was going to win before he even won the Democratic nomination. And I remember him saying, he says, watch, he will move to the middle. Remember, write a list of all the things that he's promised. He says they all do it. Wasn't picking on Barack Obama. He's a big fan of Barack Obama, but he said this guy will move to the middle. But I think the big difference is it's being magnified. This Guantanamo Bay thing, the redoing the trials, and there's just a lot. They got. I tell you one thing that him and Pat Quinn and even Scott Walker all have in common. They have very bad message carriers. They have very bad PR people. They don't get their message out. People do, which I hate this media. They throw it out there long enough. You talk about it. You just sell lie, and then it sticks to them. And they do not have good people that counter what their agendas are. That's just Chris Christie gets his message out.
Well, yeah, because
somebody say he was sexy. Some woman said he was sexy. He was on television.
Was that Tish?
Yeah. No, it wasn't that Tish. Right. You brought up Guantanamo Bay. I've been reading President Bush's book, Decision Points.
Oh, is it good?
It's interesting.
Okay.
And what was very interesting about Guantanamo Bay, if I'm saying that wrong, I apologize, because it feels like it's coming out of my mouth wrong. He said, we looked at all these different options, and this was the best of all bad options to choose from.
Well, that's a good answer.
He was not for being like, hey, let's open. No, that was not what he was all about. He was like, all the other options were this was the best of a bunch of bad options. And I think what you ended up seeing now that Obama has said it's staying open and they're starting the tribunals again, that Obama, after being there for a couple of years, went, oh, that was a pretty good decision. There are no other good options. And he found out the reality of it.
Well, there's consequences.
Yeah.
Hey, that one guy in New York beat, 151 charges? He got convicted of one charge. And everybody went...
Blagojevich?
No.
That was Chicago, my friend. That was down in the Daily Center.
The one terrorist he beat 150 of 151 charges.
Yeah, I forgot his name.
And then Eric Holder said, that's okay. He's still going to get 20 years on that one conviction. We only got a minute. We only got a minute left. The healthcare bill.
Minute and a half.
Just real quickly, the administration went to the appellate court and filed a brief, said that they don't. The Supreme Court told the Supreme Court, let the appellate court handle it. We don't want they don't want to fast track it to the Supreme Court. I don't believe for a minute, and I'll shut up, that the president wants this to be overturned by the Supreme Court next year. I can't believe that he would want this. They have to be making some kind of deal in there. But anyway, I want to just throw that in there.
I hope it's a deal. And you know what I hope they do, Tim? I hope that they go in there and they take the stuff in there that is common ground. Because there's plenty of stuff in there that the Republicans can get behind. And let's pull out the stuff that they agree on, and let's move forward with it in the best interest of the people.
Hey, Tim, yes. Look what I found in Paul's jacket. Huh?
A cigarette.
Throw somebody $1.
You thought I was against the sin tax. Huh?
Anyway, I wanted to thank my daughter Melissa for being here. My oldest daughter's here. She said in the show, "Thank you. I love you very much. I'm glad you came."
You talk too
and
much.
Our music
That's
is. Well, we didn't give her a microphone.
No. It's all right.
She made her sit next to Paul, though. Wasn't that enough?
Of all your oldest daughters, she's my favorite. We will not let the lack of competition diminish the accomplishments.
Danny Pfeiffer, national political. Who's Danny Pfeiffer?
Danny Pfeiffer is he's a political consultant lobbyist who is tied in with all the different states, the attorney generals. He's a real insider.
So he can give us some inside stuff.
Yes, he is an insider who really knows how it works.